let's talk about a challenge that, a lot of career and technical schools run into but maybe don't fully appreciate until they're deep in it. We're talking about institutional compliance. And here's the thing. It's not a one-and-done task. It's a continuous, really high-stakes journey. So let's dive into what that actually looks like.
All right, here's our game plan. First, we're going to get a feel for the true scale of what I'm calling the compliance mountain. Then, we'll get real about the risks of trying to climb it all by yourself. After that, we'll talk about bringing in an expert navigator, lay out a blueprint for what success looks like, and finally, see how all this hard work actually makes you more competitive.
You know, for a lot of new schools, getting that first official okay to operate feels like you've crossed the finish line. You celebrate, you pop the champagne, but honestly, that's a huge misconception. In reality, you're just at the base of a very, very big mountain. The real climb is just beginning.
And this quote right here, it just nails it. Institutional compliance isn't some 9-to-5 job you can clock out of. It's not a project with a neat little end date. The rules, the regulations, all the requirements from state, federal, and accrediting bodies, they're constantly changing. Staying on top of it all is a full-time, round-the-clock effort.
So that initial state license you work so hard for, think of that as just setting up base camp. From here on out, you're looking at a mountain of ongoing tasks. We're talking regular renewals, making sure your program development meets these super specific standards, and then the big one, getting through the whole accreditation process. It's a journey that, well, it never really stops.
So if compliance is this constant climb, trying to do it without a map, without a guide, well, that can be incredibly dangerous. Let's get into the real-world consequences, the hidden costs of what happens when things go wrong.
There are 4 big pitfalls you've got to watch out for. First, costly delays. These can literally halt your operations and just drain your budget. I mean, imagine one delay costing you thousands in lost tuition revenue. Then you've got non-compliant notifications, those formal warnings that can really damage your school's reputation. And having to submit the same applications over and over and over again, it's a massive waste of time and energy. And of course, the worst-case scenario, an outright denial of authorization. That could literally shut your doors for good.
Okay, after hearing all those risks, you might be feeling a little stressed out. I get it, but the point here isn't to scare you, it's to prepare you. So now we're going to pivot away from the problem and start talking about the solution. What happens when you bring in an expert to help you navigate?
This is so simple, but it's so important. The path of stress, uncertainty, and constant worry, that isn't your only option. There's a smarter, more strategic, and way more supported way to handle this whole compliance challenge.
And this, right here, this is the central question, isn't it? The conversation totally shifts from, can I do this myself, to what happens if I mess this up? When you actually stop and weigh the potential for those delays, the denials, all the wasted resources, well, the cost of not having an expert in your corner can be way, way higher.
Let's just break it down side by side. On one path, you're going it alone, facing all those risks we just talked about. But on the other path, the one with an expert partner, you get to tap into their hands-on experience, you get solutions that are actually built for your school's size, and you get ongoing support to build a rock-solid foundation that can handle whatever changes come your way.
Okay, so if getting expert guidance is the answer, what does that actually look like? What should you be looking for? Let's deconstruct the key pieces of a really effective support system.
This is absolutely crucial. The best help comes from people who've been on both sides of the table. You want consultants who've actually worked inside schools like yours because they get your day-to-day challenges. And you want ones who've worked for the regulatory agencies because they know exactly what inspectors are looking for. That dual perspective is just priceless.
Look, a brand new, small career school has completely different needs than a huge multi-campus institution, right? Effective support can't be one size fits all. It has to be scalable. That means it can grow with you, it can adapt with you, providing the specialized services that actually match where you're at right now.
Now, this is a really cool concept. Fractional services basically means you're not hiring a massive full-time compliance department. It's more like having a top-tier expert on retainer. You get that high-level guidance exactly when you need it to navigate all the constant changes and regulations. It's super flexible and way more cost-effective.
So at the end of the day, all of these pieces, the hands-on experience, the scalability, the fractional support, they're all just building blocks. This isn't just about checking boxes on some form. It's about creating a strong, stable operational foundation that can handle challenges and, more importantly, support your school's growth for years to come. And that brings us to the final payoff. What happens when you get all of this right? Because mastering compliance isn't just about staying out of trouble.
No, it's about unlocking the real potential of your institution.
You can see the progression here. It's like a domino effect in the best way possible. Once you have that strong compliance foundation, you're truly set up for success. That stability and your solid reputation allow you to go out and confidently increase student enrollments. And critically, staying compliant is how you maintain your eligibility for state and federal funding, which, as you know, is the lifeblood for so many schools.
And if you take away one single thing from our chat today, please let it be this. For too long, compliance has been seen as this defensive chore, right? A cost you have to pay to avoid getting in trouble. But when you approach it strategically, it transforms into an offensive asset. It becomes the stable foundation that lets you go after your mission and truly grow your impact.
So I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. Take a second and think about your own school. Is that 24/7 challenge of compliance the one thing that's secretly holding you back? And what would happen if you reframed it, not as a burden, but as the key that unlocks your future growth? It's a pretty important question to ask. Thanks for tuning in.